Jai Shri Ram. Now we come to Canto 15. While going out of the Gynecium to bring Sri Ram, Sumantra sees Vashishta and others as well as a number of kings waiting at the gate and hastens back to announce their presence to the king. He is, however, sent back to fetch Sri Ram and forthwith enters the latter's apartments. Having spent the aforesaid night, presumably at the hermitage of Vashishta, the Brahmins that had mastered the Vedas and have been invited to officiate at the installation ceremony stood at the gate of the royal palace along with the king's family, priests, Vashishta, Vamdev, and others. Full of delight, the ministers as well as the commanders of the army, as also those who happened to be the foremost among the mercantile community, also gathered together in a systematic manner for the installation of Sri Ram, a scion of Raghu. A clear sun having risen, the asterism named Pushya having appeared with the moon in the daytime, and the sun having entered the zodiacal sign named Cancer, the fourth sign of the zodiac, a phenomenon which had appeared at the time of Sri Ram's birth as well. Everything required for the installation of Sri Ram as Prince Regent was got ready by the foremost of Brahmins. Gold pitchers full of water and an auspicious wooden seat duly adorned, also a chariot completely upholstered with a brilliant tiger skin, and water brought from the sacred confluence of the holy Ganga and Yamuna were kept ready. Water was also brought from as many other holy rivers, pools, wells, and lakes as there are. Rivers like Narmada, whose streams have their origins in the east and flow in a westerly direction, whose streams originate in lofty mountains and flow towards the plains, and others such as the Ganga at Varanasi, the Gandaka and Sona flowing northwards or southwards and having water white as milk, as well as from the seas on all sides. Honey, curds, ghee, grains of parched paddy, blades of the sacred kusha grass, flowers appropriate to the occasion, water, 8 charming virgins, an excellent elephant in rut, gold and silver pitchers full of water, covered with leaves of trees, yielding a milk white raisin, pitchers which were not only filled with excellent water but also contained lotuses and lilies, all shone brightly. An excellent pair of white cowries, resplendent as the scattered rays of the moon and adorned with jewels, was kept ready for fanning Sri Ram with at the time of his installation. A white and splendid umbrella, which resembled the lunar orb that cast its effulgence all round, stood ready in front of all other articles required for the consecration. A white bull was also ready, and a white horse stood full ready. Also, all kinds of musical instruments and panegyrists as well as bards were present. Failing to perceive the emperor, the Brahmins, and others who had assembled there in obedience to the latter's command, taking with them requisites for the consecration of a prince as prince regent of a standard and on a scale according to which requisites for such installation are got together in a kingdom ruled by the Ikshvakus, said to one another, "Who on earth will announce our presence to the king? And we don't see the king, although the sun is already up. Nay, everything in connection with the installation of the wise Ram to the office of Prince Regent is ready." While they were saying so, Sumantra, who was honored by the king, spoke as follows to them as well as to the kings present. Under orders of his majesty, I am really out in a hurry to bring Sri Ram. You are, however, worthy of adoration even to the king, much more to Sri Ram. I shall therefore presently inquire after his majesty's welfare on behalf of your blessed selves, as also the reason of his failure to appear before you, even though he is fully awake. Saying so, Sumantra, who knew many ancient anecdotes being many winters old and belonging as he did to the bard class, returned to the entrance of the gynecium. Nay, Sumantra, it is said, once more entered the gynecium, which had its doors always open to him. Entering it, he then glorified the lineage of the aforesaid king. Reaching the well-known royal bedchamber, he paused a while, then going very near that room, behind the arras, he extolled Dashrath through benedictions accompanied with praises as follows. May the moon god and the sun god, as well as Lord Shiva and Kuvera, son of Visrava, and the god of riches, as also Varuna, the god of water, Agni, the god of fire, and Indra, the lord of paradise, grant you victory. The glorious night has passed and blessed daytime has arrived. Sorry. Wake up, O tiger among rulers of men. Pray, accomplish what ought to be done next. Arrived here, Brahmins, commanders of the army, and merchants for their part, long to see you. Pray, awake, O scion of Raghu. Recognizing him by his voice, the king then spoke as follows to Sumantra, the charioteer who was expert in giving advice. Since you have been commanded by me in the following words, bring Ram to me, O bard. What is the reason due to which my command is being acted against? Nor am I fast asleep as you think me to be. Therefore, speedily bring Ram here. So did King Dashrath instruct the bard once more in the said gynecium. Hearing the king's command and saluting him with his head bent low, Sumantra issued forth from the king's palace, holding the command most welcome to his heart. Having reached the main road, which was decorated with buntings and flags, the charioteer, who felt delighted, nay, overjoyed over the prospect of seeing Sri Ram installed as Prince Regent, quickly proceeded further, casting his glances all round. On the way, the said bard heard joyfully the talks bearing on Sri Ram and connected with his installation from the lips of all men. Sumantra, for his part, then caught sight of the charming palace of Sri Ram, whose splendor vied with that of Mount Kailash, nay, which shone like Indra's own palace in paradise, and was secured with massive doors and embellished with hundreds of balconies. Its main facade was adorned with gold images, and it provided with an outer gateway of gems and corals. Resplendent like a cave of Mount Meru, it cast splendor compact as an autumnal cloud. It was decorated with very large gems, forming part of wreaths of gold flowers, was full of pearls, and was adorned with sandal trees and aloes. It emitted pleasing odors like a summit of Mount Dardura, a mountain abounding in sandalwood in the vicinity of Malayagiri mountain, and was graced with crying cranes and peacocks. It was full of beautifully designed images of wolves and decked with fine wooden carvings, and attracted the mind and eyes of men by its bright splendor. It shone like the moon and the sun, and vied with the palace of Kubera. The god of riches was a replica of the abodes of mighty Indra, and abounded in birds of various kinds. The bard thus beheld the palace of Sri Ram resembling Mount Meru in height, and thronged with men arrived there and standing with joined palms. It was fully graced with men from the countryside, arrived on that occasion, taking presents with them, eager to behold and cheerful over his installation. Stately and highly resplendent, it shone like a large cloud. Nay, it was full of precious stones of numerous description, and was also crowded with servants. Irradiating the overcrowded main road with his chariot, drawn by 4 horses, and provided with a fender or protecting plank, with a view to avoiding collision, and heading towards the royal place of palace, of which Sri Ram's palace obviously formed an integral part, and delighting the mind of the people of the whole city, the charioteer arrived at the entrance of Sri Ram's palace. The said charioteer was thrilled all over with joy to reach the great palace of Sri Ram, who deserved all excellent possessions. full of abundant riches and thickly crowded with deer and peacocks, and resembling the palace of Indra, the spouse of Sachi. Entering one after another, the three gates of the palace, which were richly decorated and shone like Mount Kailash in height, and which vied with the realm of God in beauty, and overpassing the many excellent men present there, who followed the mind of Sri Ram, and as such were loved by him, the charioteer arrived at the gynecium. There he heard the joyful words of men engaged in services connected with the installation as Prince Regent of Sri Ram, as well as the highly delighted talks invoking all round blessings on the heir apparent of all people. Sumantra further saw the lovely palace of Sri Ram, which vied with the palace of the mighty Indra, and was inhabited by beasts and birds of varied descriptions, and which shone brightly with its splendor like a lofty summit of Mount Meru. He beheld the passage leading to the entrance, overcrowded with throngs of people from the countryside, standing with joined palms and carrying presents there, their conveyances having been left at some distance away. He next saw the charming elephant in a rut that carried Sri Ram on its back, and was tall as a mountain, crowned with a large mass of cloud, and was most formidable and could not be controlled with a goad, and which was capable of conquering the enemy, and was accordingly known by the name of Satrunjaya. Sumantra also saw the foremost of the king's ministers, who were fully adorned and had come either on horseback or on the back of their elephant, or had driven in their chariot, and were beloved of the king. Driving them into a corner, collected as they were at one spot, he entered the gynecium, which was rich on all sides, so the tradition goes. Unchallenged by the porters, the charioteer thereupon freely entered the gynecium of Sri Ram's palace, which shone like a stationary cloud perched on a mountain peak, and consisted of mansions resembling large aerial carts, and contained a stock of abundant precious stones, even as an alligator would enter an ocean abounding in precious stones. Thus ends Canto 15 in the AYODHYAKAND of the glorious Ramayan of Valmiki, the work of a rishi and the oldest epic. Jai Shri Ram.